everyone, in my last video I showed you how to do a single crochet to finish a circular knitting machine project. I also commented that you could do a slip stitch method, and that's what I'm going to show you how to do today. The slip stitch method is a very simple and beginner friendly way to make sure that you have a really nice clean edge, and it's really useful if you don't need a lot of stretch or if you don't feel comfortable doing any sort of crochet. Also, another one of the benefits is that you do not need a long tail, because we are going to be connecting these two or this end together by just the loops that we have in our waist yarn. That is it. We will need to have at least somewhat of a tail, but you need to have that anyway when you cast off of your machine, and that's just going to be how we tie it in place. So to do the slip stitch method, what you're going to do is you are going to locate the tail of your waist yarn and the tail of your working yarn. This is going to indicate the corner. So here's your corner, and you're just gonna fold it in half. And what you're trying to do, and some people get really technical and go through and put stitch markers in every single loop. I don't think you need to do that. I feel like that is a lot of extra time. I am just eyeballing this and kind of rolling up the waist yarn until I get to this point here. So you should have one loop in the corner, and this is what we're going to start with to do our slip stitch. Now, one other tip that I will share with you has to do with stitch markers, and I know I always seem to talk about stitch markers, but it's because there are so many benefits, especially when you're working with yarn. So when we do the slip stitch, when you get back to this end, everything's going to be seamed up and pretty snug. So there is a high probability that you may not find these last two stitches very easily. So I'll go ahead and do this just to demonstrate. It's not something I typically do these days, but it definitely is a great tool to have. So I'm just going to put these stitch markers in the last two, and you may even want to do the last four, whatever works for you if you find yourself constantly forgetting to pick up those little loops here if they get hidden. Okay, so we're going to come back again to the side over here, and we are going to use our crochet hook. Again, I just use my 5 because it's the most comfortable and I love it. And you're going to pick up that one loop here, and then you're going to go to the top, and you're going to pick up the loop, and you're gonna slip it through. Then we're gonna switch to the bottom. We're gonna pick up that loop, and we're gonna slip it through. You're gonna go back to the other side, pick up the loop, slip it through. So we're just doing slip stitches, and this will create that same nice clean finish. Your stitches will actually be a lot tighter. So if you don't need to add any additional crochet or edging, this is a great way to finish projects. It's also a great beginner-friendly method, like I said, because you don't have to have a lot of knowledge around crochet. So we're going to do this all the way to the end. So now we're back here to the end of our project, and you'll see here those two little loops that we identified with our stitch markers are very clear to see. So I'm going to pick this one up on the left, slip that through, and then coming up on the top here, slip that one through, pull that through, and then to finish it off, we're going to make a knot by pulling our yarn tail over and then just pulling it all the way through. Then we'll take off our waist yarn, and then if you give that knot a little tug, it'll knot it right in place, and then you'll be able to hide your yarn tail within your work. And here is how the slip stitch method works. Still a beautiful clean finish. It works great for most projects. Imagine a scarf with this, and that is how you do the slip stitch method of closure for your circular knitting machine.